So when we talk about rise up, what is it we mean? Well, rise up means a consciousness, a way of thinking and being in the world. We actually live in two realms of experience. We live in the physical realm, and we live in the spiritual realm. And we are here to partake and be part of both of them, to be involved of both the physical world and involved in the spiritual world. Now, we think of those two realms because one is in form that we can see, and of course one is invisible, that there might be a dividing line between the two. So it's going to be a lot of work to chop down that dividing line to get from one to the other. But actually, there is no dividing line between the physical realm and the invisible or the spiritual realm. So the topic today is unveiling the sacred. Well, the sacred, of course, is the spiritual realm. And when it talks about, and we talk about unveiling it, it's because we have built in our own minds veils of illusion. In the Hindu religion, it says, inside of everyone there is a God embryo. We call it the divine spark, but a God embryo. And its only purpose is to be born within each and every person. So that's our goal, to give birth to that divine spark, that God embryo in us. Then Sufism says we as humans have built 22,000 veils of illusion. Oh my God, we'll be working forever on that, right? 22,000. I think 2 is a lot, but 22,000 veils of illusion, which is just ways of thinking that make us feel separate from God, our good, infinite power, infinite intelligence, creativity. We build up our own veil that separates. Meister Eckhart, and I have said this many, many times, shared this quote, because it makes me understand life better. He said there are 2 faces of the soul. The upper face gazes at God all the time. That is our spiritual nature. That is our divine nature. That's the part of us we're opening up to, we want to unveil. The other face, the lower face, which is our physical self, looks down somewhat and guides the senses. Now, they're in balance in a perfect world, but oftentimes we lose our focus and we get seduced by the physical world, and we make all our decisions, judgments, choices by looking only at the physical world, when we are here to be the whole kit and caboodle. We're here to be the whole self, all incarnate right here. You know, Ernest Holmes, absolutely, in his huge Science of Mind textbook, has so many teachings of Jesus because he saw Jesus as the greatest teacher, the master way shower that so knew his oneness with God. He didn't know a dividing line. He saw no separation. He knew that we are created from the sacred, and that link to the sacred cannot be broken ever. That's there, it's continually embracing us, guiding us, supporting us, and blessing us. This consciousness, this concept is a main core of most religions, at least many of them. Jesus said, the kingdom of God is within you. So we have to know ourselves. Muhammad in Islam said, those who know themselves know God, know the Lord. Judaism says he is in all and all is in him. Confucianism says those who completely know their own nature know heaven, oneness, unity. The Chinese Book of Changes says, in the depths of the soul, one sees the divine, the one. Look within, you are the Buddha, Buddhism. So if that's the core teaching in so many religions and teachings and philosophies, why don't we get it? If you know, will you tell me? because I'm really not sure. What I know is that life gets difficult. There's not a person here that hasn't known sadness, fear, anger, upset, chaos, depression, impatience. And everyone at some time, some point in our life, will lose someone they love deeply. That's hard. Life is difficult, and it's not easy to understand. That's the problem. We don't understand, and we feel separate and alone so much of the time. Now, I love this quote by Charles Fillmore. Charles and Myrtle Fillmore were the creators of Unity, a New Thought religion. And he says, when we see only form, we see ourselves to be separate. We see ourselves to be separate from the source, from our source, and lose sight of divine harmony. We are like a musical note standing alone. Oh, when I think of that, music note standing alone makes me sad. Oh man, looking upon the other notes, I'm getting sadder. Having no definite place upon the divine staff of nature and the grand symphony of life. When our life is so filled with trouble, when we haven't developed the practices and the habits to find spirit wherever we are, we get immersed in the trouble. We get immersed in separation, and we can't hear that divine harmony that's all around us because we're part of the one, and we're here to be working together to hear the voice, the sound of God who speaks in our heart through the language of feeling, which is affirmative. That's the way we hear God. So how do we help? Well, we have to reach out. I found this note in our prayer box this week. Dear God, so far today I am doing all right. I have not gossiped, lost my temper, been greedy, grumpy, nasty, selfish, or even self-indulgent. I have not whined, complained, cursed, or eaten any chocolate. I have not charged on my credit card. However, I'm going to get out of bed in a few minutes. And I will need a lot more help after that. Please help. So practitioners, we have to start our prayer work right now. Ministers, all of you, prayer work. There is within each of us an innate desire to know God, even when that much is going on in your mind. You know somewhere, some way, somehow, there is some help. It's just how do we get that? Where do we turn to get the help we know is there? It's that divine spark in us that's always present, knowing, as the Bible says, God stands at the door and waits. We know God is not a physical being, but an energy of possibility and solution and understanding and forgiveness and all those things. God is there for us, but we need to reach out. I love the times when I'm in trouble and I know I have to have my hands outstretched in two ways. Look at the people that are the expressions of God to help, but also have my hand to hear the voice of Spirit. It's there. We just need to do our part. Do our part. Ernest Holmes says we should always be consciously courting the divine through our spiritual practices. So this woman here reached out. You know, when Jesus said, "Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all else will be added," what do you think all else means? Huh? What would you say? What is all else? Integrity, truth, love, goodness, compassion, patience, awe, beauty. Should we keep going? All else of the good stuff. But we have to do our part. It's kind of hard to do our spiritual practice until we really understand what it's all about. Spiritual practice, whatever you do, in whatever religion, whatever way, we're not beseeching and praying to God for something. We're just knowing the truth that is there, that life is for us and not against us. But we have to know, number one, there's a power greater than we are, or it's not going to work. We have to know that at a deep level there's something more to this thing called life. And that's why in that quote I read in the beginning, consciously grow and expand forever, and consciously build a greater relationship to Spirit. As we lift the veil, what does that mean? As we lift the veil in our spiritual practice, well, I just say right now, look into your heart. Because if God speaks to the heart, how many of us have a heart cluttered with hurts from the past? Do you ever find yourself repeating the same hurt over and over and over and over again? Oh, come on. Is it only me? I know when we keep hearing ourselves. I remember at one point I was listening to myself and I said, I am so tired of hearing myself say that. Blaming somebody for something, feeling bad about it, just something that was done, and it's so boring. We need to learn how we can heal our hearts in so many different ways. We need to be aware, number one, of what's going on. I want you to think of something in your life that hurts a little bit. A lot, a whole lot, a great big bunch. And know inside every hurt, every problem, there's deeper meaning. I know that. There's something more that wants to be revealed. We have to be willing to open up that problem, open up that issue so we can see what's the greater truth and understanding that wants to be known. When you read in your beautiful reading about the sacred, that running away from things, being asleep, that's not the way to solve problems. That's not the way to make our life better. We have to be present here and now to this moment. So right now, I just want to do a little meditation. Just put your feet on the ground, and if you feel comfortable, close your eyes, unwrap yourself. Because what I know is that this is a tough time for many of us. Coming out of a pandemic, trying to find our way, a world that seems to have forgotten about taking care of each other. It's a tough place. But as we know from the teachings of the major philosophies and religions, we first need to know ourselves, and that right where we are, there is a presence, a spark of light, of divinity, of goodness. So as you travel down in your own heart space, see what you bump into. A veil of illusion, a misconception, an unhealed emotion, a negative thought that wants to be cleared out, to clear the path for that sacred energy to be the blessing and the grace that guides life. And whatever that emotion is, we know that any and every painful emotion can be healed through practice and understanding. So first of all, love yourself and love that emotion. Know that all emotions and feelings are here for a reason. And just ask, what does it have to tell me? What do I need to know? What am I here to learn? And create the space and make the commitment to take some sacred time today, some quiet time, to listen deeper, that we can unveil and move out those veils of separation, of negative, difficult thought that keep us separate from our good. And simply place this emotion, this feeling, unhook it from yourself and place it on the altar of God in your thought, wherever you say, just place it there and know that there is a power, a goodness that wants to reveal the greater truth so we can heal this and open up to something more in our life. I want to share, as we close this, I want to share a quote by Ernest Holmes. He says, "Genius is nothing less than the ability of the intellect, will, and emotion to surrender themselves to something greater." So in this moment, we're just opening up to our genius energy. We just let it go. And in that place and space, taking a nice deep breath, breathing in, filling up with the light of that divine spark, being lit from the inside out to connect the spirit with our physical being that we can see in a greater way. Take a nice deep breath. And as we come back to this room with a consciousness of healing, I just invite you to heal your heart right now by knowing and thinking of loving people. There's always loving people ready to show up. Calm your mind right now by thinking of things you're grateful for. There's gratitude and wonder always available in every moment. And make an intention, set an intention right here and now to feel good by doing good. Number one, for yourself, and number one, for others. It's time. Albert Einstein said, "You cannot simultaneously prepare for war and peace at the same time. They're two separate vibrations." Now, this doesn't mean going out and preparing for war out there. It means the war for me that we have in our own self, a war against ourself and our greater self. So to really create the consciousness of unveiling the sacred, we have to move from feeling like a victim to realizing we are here to be creators, to create something more. As long as we're here, alive and moving, which we are with the help of our wonderful music department, moving and growing and going, we are here to be the creators. So today, before we leave, I'm going to ask you, what is it more you want to create in your life right now? As we open up, remember that music note standing alone? I want you to imagine that's you. And imagine what happens when you join in the creative potential with other beautiful notes, how you can create sounds and music, always something new and something different and something more. When I read that quote, it made me realize every day is an opportunity for something more. Music doesn't just keep repeating itself and going over and over the same thing. It's new and exciting and always different. And we have that ability, that opportunity to do that today. I'm going to close with a quote I say all the time, but I've heard it repeated from other people too, so I know we're in this together. Out between the ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass, ideas, language, even the phrase each other doesn't make any sense. Here's my commitment. Let's have the courage to move beyond those thoughts, that we can go to that field and not only just, yes, lie down and feel the oneness, feel the connection, but then get up and do our part. Because I know together, right here and now, we have solutions and ideas that definitely make this world, this place, more loving, more creative, more connected, more beautiful all the time. It is together that the greatest possibilities blossom. Thank you very much for being part of my creative potential, for being in my life, that we can do things together in the best and the better way. I love you all.